Industry Department and the union buildings over the current e-hailing model in the country. The drivers who are on a 3-day strike want the industry to be regulated and legislated. They say the current model is not profitable, with ride rates remaining the same for years despite petrol hikes. SABC News reporter Ofenza Sitimo has been carrying the story since morning. Ofenza, are you still in Marabastad?
Yes, Desiree, thank you so much. We are still here in Marabastad, but the taxi operators are actually about to depart any minute now. I'm actually joined now by Batuka Mbelengwa, who's one of the organizers of this particular march. Thank you so much, Batuka. A lot has been said about petrol hikes and fees actually staying stagnant. Can you just elaborate a bit further on issues of safety, especially for drivers and for consumers themselves, as there has been some headlines in previous weeks where undesirable incidents have actually transpired?
Let me break down the issue of safety for you, and in particular regards to Bolt. What happens is that they onboard far too many drivers. This is a revenue generating aspect for their business, where they charge people to sign up. What then happens is that many drivers sit without vehicles and they've got a profile sitting not working. Then they begin to rent those profiles out, and there's no control as to who those profiles are being rented out to. And then this is where criminality comes into industry, right? If you request on Bolt and then cancel your trip, you'll get an option that will say driver did not match description. You know, this goes to show that there's no control as to who's coming in to come pick you up or where that request is going to. Now, what's most unfortunate is that this reflects upon all industry participants, and we are calling for regulation to ensure that there is proper vetting processes, which will then give way to a proper, safe environment for e-hailing industry to operate within. You know, we can't continue to hear reports of sexual assaults in vehicles, and it's unfortunate that only one case will make it to mainstream media, but this is a common practice within this industry. In fact, we are of the position that Bolt itself is complicit in the rape of women in this country. Gareth Taylor, the CEO of Bolt, who refuses to build a safe platform, is the principal rapist in this matter, and we need regulation so we can call those people to account.
Yes, and we understand that, you know, to a certain extent, as you mentioned, that there's a lot of drivers. The aspect of the bottom line, you guys making profit. How does that work in terms of petrol actually going up? Are they interactive and responsive to the petrol prices going up? And because we know that they're still going to go up a bit further.
No, they're not at all responsive. You see, the big app companies, Uber and Bolt, are more involved with being competitive with each other, irregardless of the fact that this means that we have to now operate at below operational cost, and we can't continue in this manner. We need pricing to take into consideration the cost of our vehicles, the cost of our labor, the cost of our data, the ever-rising cost in fuel. In fact, we've had prices decrease over the past 8 years instead of increasing, while everything else has gone up. You know, this makes no sense, and regulation will then say there are joint decision-making platforms where all parties can sit and take decisions of this nature together.
Okay, and then the 3 days that you guys are going to be on strike, how are you going to ensure that there is compliance among Magundwane, those that might decide that, no, I'm just going to make a quick buck while everyone else is actually on a stay away?
Here's the reality. You know, we've committed ourselves to being a peaceful protest. We want to respect all citizens and all operators who may choose not to participate. This is our position. Although, you know, you may make a quick buck today, but the reality is we'll remain exploited because people aren't coming to the party. We need unity. We need industries to stand as one, and we need society to support us on this.
Yes, the authorities themselves, what do you want them to do? I know that there was a e-hailing bill that was actually drafted and left on the president's desk around 2016. What else do you want?
You see, what that bill will do is that it will make sure that e-hailing is recognized, and as a recognized entity within public transportation, we can then begin to engage the different spheres of government to get the support we need to ensure that we are a supported industry, and we can then begin to deploy safety solutions. We can then begin to engage new opportunities, but more importantly, we can then make sure that there is a framework that will then define the relationship that will ensure that we fall within a healthy ecosystem within public transportation and are not being seen to be directly competing with minibus taxis. This is what we want the authorities to rise to the occasion and bring about, so that public transportation can be safe, can be accessible to all, and can work in a manner that is respectful and profitable for all who partake in it.
Yes. And also, government subsidy, would that help in terms of increasing your bottom line? I haven't heard anyone, seeking that.
Look, the subsidy, the e-hailing subsidy, or the COVID, are we speaking to the COVID relief fund or just the general subsidy?
Just the general subsidy.
Look, if we have a general subsidy in place, look, I think, we are entrepreneurs. We want an environment whereby we can operate as entrepreneurs and not primarily rely on government subsidies. The support is needed, but if that money can be deployed into making sure that regulation is there, making sure that tech support is in place, that's the kind of support that will be important for industry.
Thank you very much. Well, as you heard, that's Batuka Mbelengwa, one of the organizers of this particular march, going to the Department of Trade and Industry and also to the union buildings, saying that government should intervene and regulate this sector to ensure safety, as there have been some undesirable incidents where women have been harassed by the drivers themselves. And with that, it's back to studio.
Of course, that's one of the topical stories of the day, and Ufenza Sitimo has been bringing it to us all morning, and I suspect he will do so until they arrived at the union buildings and the Department of Trade and Industry.